In 1972, every Friday night, millions of American families glued their eyes to the screen to see Marcia Brady, the perfect daughter, in the Brady Bunch. But few knew that when the stage lights faded, Maureen McCormick returned to a much darker reality. Her father lived in fear and control. Her mother hid a horrifying secret, and she herself struggled with loneliness and addiction. The never-before-seen private photos of Maureen are not just personal mementos, but vivid evidence of a deeply conflicted inner life. What really happened on the night she came home after that reality show? And why do some say that once you know the truth, you'll never look at Marcia Brady the same way again? Before we dive deeper, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Grab yourself a warm drink, maybe a cup of tea or just water, and sit back as we begin this journey together. Maureen McCormick was born on August 5th, 1956, and grew up in California's San Fernando Valley. The youngest of 4 children, she was raised by her parents, Irene and Richard McCormick, in a loving home filled with both warmth and high expectations. At just 6 years old, Maureen got her first taste of show business when she entered the San Fernando Valley beauty pageant. Not only did she win, but she also caught the attention of a talent manager who saw something special in the little girl. A natural confidence, charm, and presence in front of the camera. He would become the one to lay the foundation for her future career as a star. In 1964, at only 8 years old, Maureen appeared in a national commercial for the toy company Mattel, smiling brightly alongside Barbie dolls, an image that became ingrained in the memories of an entire generation of young viewers. That short appearance opened the doors to television for Maureen. She was soon cast in popular shows like Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, and My 3 Sons. Her schedule quickly filled up, but for Maureen, it all felt like one big game. A world where she could transform into different characters, be loved, and hear the applause. Then, in 1969, destiny truly called her name. Renowned producer Sherwood Schwartz, who had already found success with Gilligan's Island, was developing a new series about a blended family with 3 boys and 3 girls. Over 260 children auditioned, but only one immediately caught his eye. One 2-year-old Maureen McCormick, with her radiant smile and bright, effortless energy. She was cast as Marcia Brady, the eldest daughter in the Brady Bunch, a role that would define her career, bringing her fame but also becoming a lifelong burden. From the very first episodes, the show became a phenomenon. The iconic opening sequence, 9 squares arranged in a 3x3 grid, each showing a family member, became a pop culture symbol, now known as the Brady Bunch effect. Maureen, with her soft blonde hair, occupied the top left corner, an image etched forever in viewers' minds. But behind the glow of success, the set wasn't always as cheerful. With 6 child actors filming together for long stretches, the studio sometimes felt more like a chaotic classroom. Tensions often flared, particularly between Maureen and her co-star Eve Plum, who played her younger sister January. Writers cleverly used their real-life disagreements as material for the show, turning their on-screen sisterly squabbles into something that felt authentic. However, the real reasons behind their off-screen arguments were somewhat delicate. McCormick once complained that Eve Plum had a habit of passing gas on set and occasionally walking around without clothes. Incidents Maureen said she witnessed multiple times. Beyond those awkward clashes, working with a group of energetic child actors came with plenty of other challenges as well. In 1973, a minor car accident ended up changing Maureen McCormick's entire career. The car went out of control, leaving her with a noticeable injury to her nose, swollen and bruised, impossible to conceal under makeup while filming the Brady Bunch. Instead of postponing production, the writers came up with a clever solution. They wrote a brand new episode to explain her appearance. That's how the subject of noses was born. One of the most memorable episodes in the show's history. The scene where Marcia gets hit in the face with a football and screams, "Oh my nose," has since become a legendary moment in American television. To this day, it continues to be referenced and parodied countless times across pop culture. Yet, behind the cheerful facade of the Brady Bunch, the real drama was far juicier than anything in the script. The show depicted a large, happy family. But in reality, the young cast members were dealing with the emotional chaos of adolescence. Maureen, the girl who played the picture-perfect Marcia Brady, began developing feelings for Barry Williams, who played her on-screen brother, Greg. Both later admitted they had a crush on each other, and the tension between them was hard to hide. One day, when the two were alone in Barry's dressing room, the atmosphere turned unexpectedly charged, until a sudden knock on the door shattered the moment like a bubble. Things got even more complicated when Barry later confessed that he also had a crush on Florence Henderson, the actress who played their on-screen stepmother. Meanwhile, Maureen was hiding a secret of her own. In her memoir, here's the story. Surviving Marcia Brady and Finding My True Voice, she admitted that she once had a crush on Robert Reed, who played her father on the show, unaware, at the time, that he was gay. And as if that weren't enough, Maureen might have had what she called a third crush during the filming of The Brady Bunch. Years later, while promoting her memoir on a radio show, she claimed that she and Eve Plum, who played her sister Jan Brady, had a little bit of a romantic thing between them. Maureen later clarified that it was just a joke, likely meant to drum up attention for her book, but Eve Plum didn't find it funny at all. Though Plum never publicly confirmed or denied the rumoured fling, her actions spoke volumes. When Oprah Winfrey invited the cast of The Brady Bunch for an on-air reunion, Eve Plum was the only one who refused to participate. Beyond being a television phenomenon, the cast of The Brady Bunch also ventured into the world of music. The group released 4 albums and even went on a national tour where Maureen McCormick, the picture-perfect Marcia Brady, grew closer to her on-screen crush Barry Williams. However, the person she sang with most wasn't Barry, but Christopher Knight, who played her younger brother on the show. The two even released a duet album together, becoming one of the most beloved young musical pairs of the era. It all seemed like a Hollywood fairy tale, but in truth, The Brady Bunch was never the ratings blockbuster people imagined. While its initial viewership wasn't impressive, the show found enduring success through reruns, slowly becoming a cornerstone of American pop culture. By the age of 19, Maureen McCormick was a household name, wealthy, famous, and adored. It seemed as if every door in Hollywood was open to her, but that dazzling spotlight hid deep cracks in her personal life. When the applause faded, Maureen was forced to confront the reality of her own family, one that looked nothing like the perfect Brady home. Her mother struggled with mental illness, and one of her brothers suffered from the same condition. To make matters worse, her father became a religious fanatic, imposing strict rituals and faith-based expectations on the entire family. The true tragedy, however, came when Maureen uncovered a dark family secret that had been buried for years. Her grandmother had once been committed to a psychiatric institution after contracting syphilis, a disease that caused her to lose control and in her despair unknowingly pass it on to her daughter, Maureen's mother. Learning this truth was like a blade cutting through Maureen's soul, shattering the image of the perfect family she once believed in. Unable to bear the pressure between her TV life and her real one, Maureen spiralled into a world of parties, drugs, and reckless escapism. It was her way of numbing the pain, but it also marked the gradual collapse of the Marcia Brady image that had made her famous. During this wild party phase, Maureen McCormick engaged in increasingly dangerous behaviour, which led to devastating consequences. Between the ages of 18 and 20, she underwent 3 abortions, a painful series of decisions that she later described as the result of reckless living and complete loss of control. "I lived like there was no tomorrow," she wrote in her memoir. "Drugs made me believe everything was fine until I couldn't even recognise myself anymore." One morning, after days of non-stop partying, Maureen woke up dazed and remembered she had an appointment with Steven Spielberg, who was casting for Raiders of the Lost Ark. She showed up in terrible shape, dark circles under her eyes, no sleep for days, barely coherent. Spielberg looked at her, then quietly handed her an orange, as if silently telling her to get back to reality. Maureen didn't get the part, and that golden opportunity slipped away, swallowed by her addiction. Rumour has it that a Hollywood producer once told her coldly, "You'll never work in this town again." Yet, Maureen refused to give up. Branded as a fallen former star, she still fought to return to television, landing small guest roles in Happy Days, Donnie and Marie, The Love Boat, and Fantasy Island. Deep down, though, she longed for a serious, dramatic role, something to prove she was more than Marcia Brady. When the chance came to audition for Midnight Express, the intense drama about drug trafficking in a Turkish prison, she poured her heart into it. But the director could only see Marcia Brady, not the hardened drug smuggler the script demanded. Maureen was rejected, and that rejection broke what little confidence she had left. She later said, "It felt like the final nail in the coffin of my serious acting career." In 1981, Maureen McCormick returned to the role that had made her famous in The Brady Girls Get Married. But this time, Marcia Brady was no longer the bright, carefree girl America had adored, and the actress playing her was no longer the innocent child she once was. McCormick was still battling drug addiction, trying to appear stable while her mind was in complete chaos. When she failed to show up on set for just one day, the entire crew panicked. They knew she was in no condition to be left unsupervised. To keep production on track, the producers came up with a strange list of special rules just for her, one of which stated that she wasn't allowed to drive herself to the studio, a precaution meant to keep the once-beloved star safe and accountable. Despite the turmoil, McCormick somehow found the strength to finish filming, a hard-won victory that marked the beginning of a new chapter, love. Though she was still struggling with her addiction, she began to dream of settling down and finding someone good. One night at a concert, she spotted a man in the crowd and instantly thought, "That's the man I'm going to marry." From that moment, she had one mission: to make him believe she was the kind of woman worth marrying. His name was Michael Cummings, and Maureen soon learned he was a devout churchgoer. So she began attending the same church, hoping to cross paths with him. When they finally met, she invited him to a party, and their relationship quickly blossomed. As they grew closer, Maureen opened up about the chaos in her life, the addiction, the pain, the fear. But soon, her old demons resurfaced. During their courtship, she relapsed. Fortunately, Michael Cummings wasn't the kind of man who ran when things got hard. Instead of leaving, he stayed, choosing to stand by her side and face the darkness together. Though Maureen hadn't fully recovered, the two married on March 16th, 1985. After stepping into marriage with Michael Cummings, Maureen hoped her life would finally turn peaceful. But the early years were anything but easy. She fought her addiction, her fears, and her own inner shadows. There were countless rounds of treatment, interventions, and therapy sessions that seemed endless. One of her doctors was Eugene Landy, the controversial therapist known for his extreme methods used on Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. At first, Maureen believed Landy could help her rebuild her life. But the deeper she went into his therapy, the more lost she felt. "I didn't know where I was going or who I was becoming," she later admitted in her memoir. What she hoped would be a path to healing instead became a pit of dependency and emotional confusion. Eventually, Maureen decided to walk away from Land's program completely, cutting off contact and starting over with one simple mission: to stay clean one day at a time. No expensive treatments, no heavy medication, just the sheer determination of a woman too tired to keep falling, yet too strong to give up. And miraculously, that simplicity saved her. Once she overcame the addiction, Maureen faced another battle: recurring depression and paranoia that made daily life nearly impossible. To keep herself from collapsing mentally, she began taking Prozac, an antidepressant that helped her hold on to stability and slowly rebuild her life. Meanwhile, life went on. In 1987, Maureen McCormick returned to the screen with Return to Horror High, a quirky horror comedy that didn't make much of a splash, but held special significance as it marked the film debut of a future Hollywood star, George Clooney. A year later, she once again stepped into the role of Marcia Brady in A Very Brady Christmas. Though she had once sworn to escape the shadow of the Brady family, Maureen found herself returning, partly out of financial necessity, and partly because that familiar world was the only place where she still felt grounded amid the chaos of her life. In May 1989, Maureen and Michael welcomed their daughter, Natalie Michelle. The moment she held her baby in her arms, Maureen thought the storms of her past were finally behind her. But the echoes of those dark years lingered. The panic attacks, sleepless nights, and the constant fear that she might slip again. Yet, even in that darkness, a small light began to shine. Maureen decided to return to the stage, the place where she had always truly belonged. She took on the role of Rizzo in the Broadway production of Grease. Standing under the spotlight, hearing the crowd cheer, she felt alive again. That experience rekindled something inside her, a desire to make music once more. In 1995, Maureen released her country music album, When You Get a Little Lonely, a project she poured her heart into. She asked her brother, who owned a record label, not to include any reference to the Brady Bunch. "I want people to listen to me because I'm Maureen, not because I'm Marcia," she said. But when the album hit stores, her heart sank. Plastered across the cover was a large label that read, "Marcia, Marcia, Marcia." She felt utterly betrayed. The marketing team had used the famous Brady tagline to attract attention, ignoring her plea for independence. Her dream of breaking free from the Brady image collapsed instantly. The album flopped. Critics were dismissive, and Maureen was left feeling angry and disheartened. Yet, out of that country failure, a new door unexpectedly opened. Offers for fresh acting roles began to come in, giving her the chance to start over. This time, she would no longer be the perfect Marcia Brady, but a woman who had fallen, suffered, and was finally learning to stand on her own. In 1997, a television network decided to bring the life of country music queen Barbara Mandrell to the screen in the TV movie Get to the Heart, the Barbara Mandrell story. The entertainment world buzzed with surprise when it was revealed that Maureen McCormick, the girl who had captured millions of hearts as Marcia Brady in the Brady Bunch, was being considered for the lead role. Mandrell, however, wasn't impressed. To her, Maureen would always be Marcia Brady, the sweet, perfect blonde daughter from 1970 family television. Mandrell preferred someone younger and trendier, like Beverly Hills, 9021 co-star Jenny Garr, someone unburdened by a sitcom legacy. But the producers saw something Mandrell didn't. A grown Maureen. No longer the innocent teen idol, but a woman, marked by hardship and experience. They convinced Mandrell that the very actress once trapped in the role of America's perfect girl could now embody a woman who had known fame, heartbreak, loss, and painful self-discovery. And to an extent, they were right. When the film aired, Get to the Heart drew nearly 20 million viewers, an enviable number for any TV movie at the time. Yet, critics and audiences were divided. Many felt the film skimmed too lightly over Mandrell's life. As for McCormick, the reviews were even harsher. Critics claimed she lacked energy and charisma, saying she was merely pretending to be Barbara Mandrell rather than truly becoming her. Those cold words echoed in Maureen's mind like the sound of defeat. After the lights went out, she quietly stepped away, not to rest, but to face a new kind of storm. Family. When her mother passed away, Maureen was devastated. To make matters worse, she began to suspect that her brother, once her confidant, was trying to isolate their father from the rest of the family to gain control of the inheritance. The combination of grief, betrayal, and loneliness sent her into another downward spiral. She gained weight, battled depression, and often failed to recognise the woman staring back at her in the mirror. But instead of hiding, Maureen chose to step into a different kind of spotlight. She joined the reality show Celebrity Fit Club, where celebrities competed to lose weight and regain confidence. Few expected much, but Maureen not only succeeded, she broke the show's record, losing nearly 23% of her body weight. Seeing her sweat, smile, and stand proudly on the scale as the audience cheered was a powerful symbol of her rebirth. Following Celebrity Fit Club, she went on to appear in Gone Country and Outsiders Inn, where she tried her hand at running a small inn in Tennessee. Viewers once again saw the Maureen they had loved decades earlier. Funny, warm, and authentic. But this time, there was no trace of Marcia Brady. In 2015, Maureen McCormick once again surprised audiences by joining I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, the grueling reality show where stars must survive in the Australian jungle with no luxuries, no makeup, and no script. Amid the rain, insects, and exhaustion, she stunned her fellow contestants by revealing an unexpected story. She once dated Michael Jackson. Viewers expected a sensational revelation, but Maureen simply smiled and said, "We just held hands and kissed on the cheek." The story evaporated as quickly as it arrived. Yet, that moment revealed something important. Maureen no longer needed shock value to capture attention. During the show, she bonded with Australian comedian Joel Cray. After filming ended, they reunited in Los Angeles for a wild night out. But when Maureen returned home, her husband, Michael Cummings, was furious. He feared that the woman who had once battled addiction might relapse. Out of love and concern, he forbade her from seeing her showbiz friends again, as if protecting her from the temptations of her former life. Still, anyone who has ever been an artist knows the spotlight is hard to walk away from. McCormick soon returned to television through nostalgia-driven shows like Dancing with the Stars and A Very Brady Renovation, where she and the original cast helped restore the iconic Brady Bunch house. And once again, audiences erupted with joy the moment she appeared. Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. Perhaps it was destiny. Maureen McCormick may change her looks, try dozens of new roles, and live through endless transformations. But the image of Marcia Brady will forever remain inseparable from her legacy. In one interview, she reflected, "It took me years to stop hating the name Marcia Brady. Now I just feel grateful because without her there wouldn't be me today." From a teen idol trapped in perfection to a woman brave enough to face failure, Maureen McCormick proved that no one is forever defined by their past. She is no longer just a Brady girl. She is living proof of the strength it takes to rise again, even when the world believes you never will.